Hello, my name is Helen Andre and I'm going to show you how to make a flower bead. This is a sculptural flower bead in that the petals are made separately and then we add them back on to a tiny base bead. There we are. It looks quite complicated, but it's very simple, and it's the way that I make all of my sculptural flower beads. Different colour petals, different amount of petals, different shapes, and you can create flowers like that. Okay, so what we need a hot plate. We need something to keep our petals hot. If you don't have a hot plate, you could make your petals at the end of the rod as I show you and attach a small, fine, clear stringer to the free end, detach the attached end from the rod and put the whole lot into the kiln. A little bit more fiddly, but it is possible. But this is the kind of hot plate that I use. It's just an old-fashioned single cooking ring kind of thing you'd find in caravans. Set it onto the highest setting. I use it on 5, and if it went higher it would probably be even better, but 5 is good enough. I use these tweezers to pick the petals back up off of the hot plate. Normal tweezers, I find, I spend quite a while chasing the flower petals. These, they are flat. They've got a flat surface in here, and so they touch together very nicely and it makes it easy to pick the petals up. The advantage is that they are tungsten and they don't stick to the glass while I'm working in it, so I don't have to worry too much about getting them hot. But do be careful with them because they can break if you drop them, and they're not cheap. This is a flower petal masher. A beautiful little tool. It creates the impression of a petal on the glass gather. Now, not everybody's got one of those, but you can use just an ordinary pair of pliers. Just something like this. Make sure they're clean and make sure you warm them up, of course. The glass I'm going to use is just ordinary Effetra glass. I've got Effetra white. I'm using Effetra pastel yellow, and then I've made a stringer from a darker yellow, just to announce the centre. In the video I talk about putting petal 1 slightly sideways to allow you to overlap the last petal so that all of the petals overlap one another rather than the last petal being all on the outside. This is what I mean because it's difficult to see it on the video. That petal, you can see, is attached slightly on one side and not on the other. This free side here will eventually lap over petal number 5 when I attach petal number 5. You can make a little flat back item instead of a flower bead if you want, and you can attach that to an earring finding or a brooch, whatever you want. So here's a little poppy that I made. Again, this one, different amount of petals, 4 petals, different colours. Same principle. I've made this one on the end of the mandrel. So right on the end here, I've made a tiny little gather of black glass. Flattened it ever so slightly, and then I've added my petals to the back. When it's all done, cooked, come out of the kiln, take it off the mandrel, clean out the hole, and grind the back. Get a nice flat surface. You can glue that to pretty much anything. Or you can make a flower for a bouquet or a flower for a head pin. Again, at the end of a piece of wire, but no bead release. Directly onto the wire. Be careful not to burn through the wire. Just put your little gather of glass, flatten it slightly, and add the petals from behind. And then you have a flower. Let's go and make some now.